Hi everyone, Vanessa here, alcoholic. My sobriety date's October 8th, 2017, and I am on the road. I am traveling around for my birthday, and I'm not entirely sure where I'm going to end up, but I am going to be here for a couple days, and so I'm really excited about it. We are going to carry on with our readings, however. Keep it simple, daily meditations for 12-step beginnings and renewal. If you don't have the book, at least paint your nails so they don't look like mine. Okay. December 12th, right? Okay. God gave us memory that we may have roses in December. James M. Barrie, who I think wrote Peter Pan, right? Do you remember what it was like to not have sobriety? Remember that shame? Remember the loneliness? Remember lying and wishing you could stop? Remember the powerlessness? Do you remember also how it felt when you began to believe you had an illness? Your shame was lifted. Remember what it was like to look around at your meeting and know you belonged? Your loneliness was lifted. Remember when your family started to trust you again? Your dishonesty had been lifted. Sobriety gives us many roses. Our memory will help to keep them fresh. Prayer for the day. Higher power, never let me forget what it was like. Why? Because I'm only one drink or pill away from losing you. Action for the day. I'll find a friend I trust. I'll tell the person what my life was like before sobriety. I'll also talk about how I got sober. Okay, well, you're going to be my friend today. This is an interesting way to say this. Yeah. It's an interesting way to say that we have to remember our blessings, right? We have to remember also the times that we got through that were difficult and the ways we were able to overcome them and all of the goodness that came from it. I was listening to a song today. It's a banger. It's by Lauren Daigle. And I guess she has new music out and she's a Christian singer, if you guys don't know, but her music is so good. And some of her songs are, well, her older stuff is like little, it sounds like Christian music, but her newer stuff, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is like amazing. She has an amazing, like soulful, like voice. So in one of the songs, she says, if it's not good, it's not over. I was thinking about how I initially disagreed with that. I don't know. Sometimes things end badly. You could be okay with that. Yeah, but my attachment to that thing is over. If my expectation of that thing and my groundedness in reality, like being able to overcome and be okay, that's still good. And so it's over. There is something about that I really liked. I don't know what that had to do with this, actually. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Basically, looking back now, I was thinking about how I came to this exact same Airbnb in the first year of my sobriety. And it was really scary in a lot of ways. I wasn't really used to going out anywhere but myself. Being able to do something that I had wanted to do on my own like that for a long time was just like exhilarating. At that time, how grateful I was to have been even like 2 years away from what it had been, which was being in jail. I was thinking about that. This is my seventh sober birthday. What a blessing to have so many sober birthdays now. And thinking about the birthday I spent being transported from jail to rehab, and the birthdays that I spent completely blacked out and causing riots anywhere that I went. It was just a disaster. And even if it wasn't like it didn't actually cause, nobody really remembers what my drunk birthdays were. Oh, maybe some people do. I didn't feel good. I knew that I woke up the next morning being like, I need to drink again so that I don't remember that. And it's really a complicated feeling to know that bad things have happened and bad things have happened, and I've been able to overcome them. And then being able to use those bad things as like a benchmark or a landmarker for how much better things are now. It would have been great if none of that stuff would have happened, but also would I be able to appreciate what I have now if it hadn't? Clearly, no, because during that time, things were not actually that bad around me, but I was making them bad because I couldn't appreciate the goodness and just like the stillness and the peace and like having any type of serenity in my life. I was like allergic to it. And so I really do like that it asks these questions. Do you remember what it was like to not have sobriety? Do you? Like I do, and it was bad. I don't miss it at all. It was chaotic. It was unfun. I was not fun. It was just chaos all the time. Remember the loneliness? Yeah. The lying and wish you could stop. Oh my gosh. Yes. This is again why I'm like so allergic to dishonesty now. Like I must be surrounded and be in complete honesty and like integrity as much as possible at all times. Clearly, I still waver from that. I'm not a saint by any means, but this is like my standard now because it was the complete opposite. Have not always been this way. I was the complete opposite of this for so many years. I know people in my life now that are like, I'm being honest with you. And like, they're not being honest with me, but I don't think they even have the capacity to be honest with themselves. And it's like, I can't take it personally. It's like, okay, remember the powerlessness, and they're also powerless of that because I am too. I have been too. Being able Not being able to have control over my honesty or dishonesty was like such a I wanted to be a good person, but it was just difficult for me. I didn't have the power to be. And then when the shame was lifted and my loneliness was lifted and the dishonesty was lifted, oh my gosh, you guys. These are just such beautiful little miracles that can happen and to come gradually. And sometimes they do come quickly to some people, but it's been for me a long and gradual process. And it is so nice to count those as roses now, even though they are insinuating that December is like unlovely because there's no roses in December and you have to use your memory to recall past roses. I feel like even those winter months have their own blessings, even though they don't always look like it. I've spent I do look at those times where I had to ride the bus or I had to walk 2 miles to get to work and all that stuff. And there was something cute about that time. It was reshaping me in ways to create who I am now. And even though during that time, it was humiliating, I had a lot of shame, I was embarrassed, it was inconvenient. I was exhausted all the time. Even though I went through all of that, oh, that's cute. I was trying. And it was peaceful to ride the bus, just listen to my podcast or my music. I grew a lot during that time. There's even some growing and some roses in December. That's all I'm trying to say. All right. And yeah, I'm taking it a little bit personally because it's my birthday month. All right. I don't think that, and the prayer for the day, I'm not a huge fan of. Um, I'm only one drink or pill away from losing you. You don't have to have actually ingested drugs or alcohol to lose contact with God. We can start doing this just by lying, by the delusions. Once I start lying to myself, I become blocked. I start to lose God at that time. And lose God. Like I like the verbiage of like being blocked instead, because I think that's more accurate. God isn't lost. God is always everywhere all the time. It's my ability to tap into and connect to God that is actually being affected anytime that I'm out of integrity or losing my conscious contact with this connection that I call God. And it's usually can happen way before the first drug. So, action for the day. Oh, yeah. So, I'm going to go ahead and read it again. Tell me what you feel about this. I feel like I was scattered out of my routine today. So, sorry if this was very disjointed. Tell me what you think about this. I do think it's a beautiful message still. December 12th, God gave us memory that we might have roses in December. James M. Do you remember what it was like to not have sobriety? Remember the shame. Remember the loneliness. Remember lying and wishing you could stop. Remember the powerlessness. Do you remember also how it felt when you began to believe you had an illness? Your shame was lifted. Remember what it was like to look around at your meeting and know you belonged. Your loneliness was lifted. Remember your family when they started to trust you again. Your dishonesty had been lifted. Sobriety gives us many roses. Our memory will help to keep them fresh. Prayer for the day. Higher power, never let me forget what it was like. Why? Because I'm only one drink or pill away from losing you. Action for the day. I'll find a friend that I trust. I'll tell that person what my life was like before sobriety. I'll also talk about how I got sober. All right. I hope that was helpful. I'll have more for you tomorrow. I love you. Bye.